why it's okay to pause your relationship with your mother. In case we haven't met yet, I'm Jess and I'm the sole founder of Life in Confidence. Now, for the past 10 years, I've been engaging in healing my traumas with my mother and also rebuilding my relationship with her. Now, it has improved drastically compared to where I was in the beginning of it. And what has showed up for me through this relationship with my mother is the layers of anger that I had to feel in order to process it so I can see her with love instead. Now, that hasn't been an easy journey with my mum, but it has really shown me not to shut down my emotions, but instead to feel it and process it in real time in front of her. What I also learned is that I can never change my mum, and I have no right to change her. That she is who she is. She's a byproduct of her family's trauma. And she is doing the best that she can. And she was doing the best that she can to express and show her love for me. And it may not be the way I would like to receive love. However, she is still expressing love in her own way. And it can be really painful and triggering to hear that she feels the need to criticize my appearance or my body shape or the choices that I've made in my business or having a business or my partner, and not having awareness the impact it has on myself and thinking that it's okay. And I'm not blaming my mum for her behavior. What I'm saying is that there is a lot of struggle in making this relationship work. And what I've noticed was that I decided to put a pause on my relationship with my mother because I felt that this is the best that I can do in making it work with my mum, with having the awareness with my triggers and my emotions with her and how her words impact me. And this has been a beautiful gift, because if I decided to cut off my mum 10 years ago, I would not learn the lesson with my anger and my emotions. I would not learn the lesson that my mom is human too. And we're all human. We all make mistakes. And it's okay. We can't constantly dismiss and judge other people, especially our parents, for making mistakes or not showing up in the way that we want them to show up, because they are a byproduct of their trauma. And through this experience of sticking in and hanging around in healing my relationship with my mom and finding ways how to make it functional, and that is only catching up once a month, and the phone calls are 20 minutes maximum if she ever calls me, and it's not often, or if I decide to call her. And also finding more ways to create boundaries where I'm not resentful towards her, where I'm not rescuing her, where she's not demanding things from me that I shouldn't be doing for her. She needs to learn how to do it herself. And by putting a pause on the relationship, and I didn't tell her that I was pausing our relationship. How it came about was this year, where I introduced her to my partner, who came from Japan, and also to meet her was one of the reasons. And it was really heart-wrenching to see and hear my mum criticizing my partner for not wearing shoes to me in Chinese. And after watching a really beautiful theatre that I took her to with my partner, she loved it, and then she hit me saying, why are you with this man? Like as if I'm a loser or he's a loser. And I told her that it wasn't okay for her to say that, and she shouldn't hit me, and it's not nice. And I walked her to the train station because she didn't know how to get back to the train station. And I didn't even say goodbye. I just walked away as soon as she was close to the train station. I was so angry with her feedback, and this is how you want to create an experience with your daughter who's introducing you to her partner. It was really painful, and what showed up in that experience was that I realized my mum will never change, and I can't change her, regardless of ways to implement healthier boundaries or the depths of the inner work that I'm working through my pain and triggers with my mother. What I need to learn from this experience is to accept her just as she is, but not get caught up into the people-pleasing mechanism and that enmeshment, this extreme bonding to constantly have to feel obligated to help her out when it's not my obligation to do so. And from that moment onward, I sent her a couple of text messages in Chinese that I Google Translate to really let her know how her behavior made me feel, and that I don't want to see her again for lunch. And a couple of months later, she messaged me on WhatsApp, and she says that she misses me, and she sends me all of these photos of her relatives. And I just thought to myself, this is really inappropriate. And I just messaged her saying that, please don't send me any more photos. I'm not interested. And she kept sending me more photos, and I blocked her on WhatsApp. And ever since then, I just feel like, wow, my mum will never get it. And what I'm learning from putting a pause with my relationship with my mum is that I'm not avoiding her, and I'm not going to cut off my ties with her. I just simply need a break from her to help me deepen my relationship with myself. How can I be authentic in my relationship with my mum? And it's not telling her that she's wrong and I'm right. It's about, do I really want to show up for our monthly catch-ups? Do I really want to have a phone call conversation and talk small talk? Is that in alignment with me? Do I really want to help her fix with her mobile contract situation? Is that in alignment for me? And so when I have paused my relationship and feeling into all of this stuff, I've noticed the people pleasing isn't being triggered. I don't feel obligated anymore. I feel that I can see how I actually am still people pleasing my mum by staying in the relationship. And it's not until I have paused that's when I can truly reflect the differences in how I feel and how I show up when my mum's not around, and how I can fully make choices that is in alignment with myself, rather than making choices in the future to make my mum happy. And that has been a massive game changer, because now it's helping me and enabling me to lead my most authentic life, which is finally living a nomadic life. It's been a dream of mine to travel the world and see different places and see where I want to land long term, because I don't feel I see my future in Sydney anymore. And I know my mom wants me to be in Australia, and just knowing and hearing her expressing that makes me feel obligated to stay in Australia. As soon as I cut out the ties with her by putting a pause, I feel so free. I feel I'm really getting to know myself without the people pleasing and the guilt and the obligations in place in the energy that is created between me and my mum. And so it's really important to have the pause, because then we can reflect and see, how am I not people pleasing? How am I was people pleasing when I was with my mum? And how can I do things better? How can I show up in a different way if I decide to reconnect with my mum again? And do I want to see her in person? Do I want a phone call? And so what I'm practicing and learning is, when I'm ready to reach out to her, and that would most likely be next year, is just to feel into myself that I'm only going to see her because I want to see her, not because I feel obligated to see her because she misses me or she's my mom. I only want to see her because I want to see her. And it's the same concept with friends. I only want to see my friends because I want to see them, not because I'm obligated to see them. So that's the takeaway that I want to bring into my relationship with my mom, and also just getting more clearer in my boundaries with her. Just being super clear, you know, what's okay and what's not okay. What am I tolerating that I haven't communicated? And how can I communicate to her in a different way rather than being aggressive? The way she understands to be communicated is through aggression, and that's quite a typical Chinese cultural thing to do, is to communicate in an aggressive way for the message to come across. And that's not my true nature at all. I want to communicate the way that I'm communicating now. And what I'm learning is that I don't need to be understood, because if I'm constantly trying to get my mum to understand me, that is a very unrealistic expectation, because she will never understand me. If I'm expecting my mum to show up in a certain way for me, that is also an unrealistic expectation from myself, because in reality, I know my mum will never change. She won't be that type of mum that I want her to be, and vice versa. So how can I manage my expectations? How can I be more accepting of my mother? And the gift in this pause is that it has shown me, wow, there's still a lot of triggers that I have with my mother that I haven't even looked into, that I'm not actually accepting. And this is why this keeps showing up in my relationship with my mum. My mum is a beautiful gift to show me what needs to be healed within myself that I've been denying or avoiding. And if it wasn't for my mum, I wouldn't be doing this type of work that I'm doing. I wouldn't even be a trauma coach in childhood abuse. This wouldn't be my calling in my life if it wasn't for my mum. And so I think it's really important to understand that when we get caught up in the negative in seeing our mothers, we also need to learn to see what is something we can be grateful for our mothers as well. Because it's so easy to point the negative and blame that person for the impacts of their choices and behaviors. But we need to take personal responsibility for our triggers. And those triggers, we can't keep blaming our parents for those triggers. We have to take personal responsibility and say, I'm the one who's feeling this way. I'm the one who's feeling triggered. So therefore I can do something about it, instead of blaming my mum. Mum, you always make me angry because you don't know when to shut up. You're always negative, rah, rah, rah. I need to own that. And so that is the gift in my mum, is showing me what is the trauma that I need to look into within myself. And when I keep working through this, then I can show up differently in my relationship with my mum and for myself. So it's really important to remember that our mothers are human beings as well. No one's perfect. We're not even perfect. And so who are we to judge our mothers for being imperfect and flawed? They are doing the best that they know how with their level of consciousness. And this is a work in progress, is acceptance. Accepting where they're at, accepting who they are, and not have any expectations how they should show up for us, because that's coming from a place of entitlement. We are all grown-ups now. We are all adults. We can find different ways where we can feel validated and fulfilled. And when it comes to a dysfunctional parent, we need to learn to manage our expectations. We can't have our needs fulfilled with this parent, because realistically they're not able to give that to us because they're so caught up in their own pain. And it's their choice not to work on themselves, and that's okay. We shouldn't judge them if they don't want to work on themselves. We have to learn to accept. And so through acceptance, we can find ourselves through forgiveness of that person, and forgiving that pain rather than judging that pain, rather than judging our mothers why they're choosing not to do the inner work, rather than judging our mothers why they're in so much pain, rather than forgiving them for being in that pain and accepting them just as they are, the way we need to learn to accept ourselves just as they are, as we are. And so through this experience, I'm really grateful. I'm so grateful that my mom has shown me what are the triggers that I need to look into, that I need to take personal responsibility for. I'm grateful for my mom for showing me, whoa, shivers, how much people pleasing that I'm still engaging with her, and how I can do things better around that. And I'm grateful for my mother, how I am learning how to sharpen my discernment and to see what is reality and what isn't. And this is helping me to be a wiser and smarter person. I'm really grateful for my mother for giving me life. You know, if it wasn't for my mom, the desire of having children, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here doing the work that I'm doing. If it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't have known my life's purpose, being a trauma coach in childhood abuse, witnessing her trauma in her marriage and the trauma that I went through with her and my dad. I wouldn't be doing this type of work. I wouldn't feel so fulfilled and living each day on purpose if it wasn't for my mom. And if it wasn't for my mom and her marriage, her toxic, dysfunctional marriage, I wouldn't have manifested the beautiful man that I have now, who loves me and accepts me just as I am and doesn't want to change me or control me. He just wants to work with me as if we are partners, because we are partners. We are a team. And that he doesn't criticize me like my mom. So I'm so grateful that I've manifested love that is completely opposite to what I've witnessed in my parents' marriage, because seeing my parents' marriage and the domestic violence and the toxicity that came from that has shown me the love that I want instead, and to change that pattern, that I'm no longer living in the patterns of my parents. I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful for my mum, because without her, I wouldn't be sharing the wisdom that I've learned from our pain, that I'm sharing with you through the free video content, or through my webinars, through my containers in a form of my workshops, or working with me privately, or in a group container. This wisdom would not have come through if it wasn't for my mother and her trauma and her pain and the man that she chose. So we need to learn to reframe our experiences with our mothers as well. It's not just all bad, there is some good in it, and we wouldn't be here today. So it's okay to give yourself permission to pause your relationship with a dysfunctional family member, so you can have the space and the capacity to reflect and see, are you still people pleasing? How are you noticing yourself when you are not in your relationship with them? How can you bring that into your relationship with them? Because this will strengthen your boundaries, your devotion to being authentic while being in a relationship with a dysfunctional family member. How can you become less triggered and more accepting and compassionate for where they are? Because when we are judging someone, we are also judging ourselves. If we're accepting someone, we are also accepting ourselves. Because we are all one. That is part of the human experience. I hope you got a lot from this video, and if you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel so I can reach as many people as I can who are in need of this. Please give this video a like, comment below, and share it with your loved ones who are in need of it as well. And if you find that you are still struggling with this, triggers that's being brought up by your mother that you're not able to process, then I invite you to come along to my upcoming events. I have my full moon ancestral trauma clearing circle, will help you to burn some soul contracts to lift the burden with your parents and ancestors. And there will be a light language transmission to help you energetically and emotionally to start dissolving that stagnant energy or triggers that you're holding in your system. There will be sound therapy, there will be a personalized card reading, a message for you to move forward, and there will be astrological updates for the month ahead and in the full moon. So if you feel called to join me on Zoom, please click on the link below and book a ticket. If you want something that's face-to-face, I am running my Transforming Trauma Weekend workshop in London, Sydney, and Tokyo. So this is 2 days of deep clearing of ancestral childhood trauma and past life trauma. Just clearing all those traumas layer by layers. I'm going to show you emotional release techniques. You're going to be guided into family constellations, gestalt therapy, body work, tai chi, core energetics, bioenergetics. The list goes on and on and on. So if you are ready for a deep clearing of these traumas and how to find a sustainable way to manage them, please click on the link to learn more about my workshop, to book a ticket, or to book a free clarity call to inquire if this is right for you or if you need a payment plan. I am also running my conscious relationship workshop in Adelaide, and this is focusing on healing and clearing toxic dynamics that you have with your current partner, your past lovers, that is linked with your parents. There will be emotional release techniques there to process that, to bring up the triggers that needs to be processed. There will be a relationship constellation to see what's the blockage in your relationship and love, whether it's manifesting a soulmate, whether it's your current relationship or your past relationships that needs to be cleared. There would also be conscious communication. I'm also going to teach you about the masculine and feminine dynamics. And there will also be a beautiful ceremonial ritual for you to let go of the old ways of being in love and calling in new ways of being with love. And you'll be celebrated in your celebration outfit. There will be an earth bed, there will be a cleansing ritual, and beautiful healing through love. So if you'd like to learn more, to book your spot or to book a free clarity call, please click on the link below as well. And I am also running my Lionsgate portal. So if you are up for manifesting your highest timeline, as well as abundance, and it doesn't necessarily mean money, but it could be abundance in love, self-love, in connections, relationships, support, whatever abundance means to you, or even health, this is the perfect container for you. And this is only done once a year on the 8th of the 8th, because that's the potent time of the frequency for the Lionsgate portal to come through to manifest your highest timeline from a place of abundance with the Leo lion energy. So if you'd like to join me there on Zoom, please click on the link below to learn more and to book your ticket. So there you have it, my love. I really hope that my share has given you permission that it's okay to pause your relationship with your mother so you can just take some time out for yourself to figure things out and see what's working, what's not working, and see what needs to be processed and see what needs to be strengthened in your alignment with your authenticity and your boundaries and how to communicate that effectively. So it is okay to put a pause, because so many people feel guilty if they decide to disconnect from their parents or to say, I need a pause. When in fact, in the end, you need to do what's right for you. May you find alignment with your heart.